Welcome back to WZ Tales. In today's story, we explore what happens when a girlfriend tells her boyfriend to go home in front of everyone at the beach, and he actually does it. As you listen, notice the moment where you think you would have walked away. My girlfriend said, "If you're jealous, go home." I replied, "Okay, then I'm really going home." Then I walked off the beach, packed my bags, caught a red-eye home alone, and I just watched as her humiliation test turned into a trip where everyone finally saw who was really the problem. I am Ryan. I am a project manager for a construction tech company. I am a quiet guy, not big on crowds, not big on being the center of attention. I like a few close friends, real conversations, and I am comfortable with silence. My girlfriend Tia is the opposite. She works in event planning and PR. She lives for social media moments and the vibe. She needs everything documented, every sunset, every drink, every joke. She loves attention and being the life of the party. We had been dating for a year and 8 months. We had our differences, but nothing huge. At least that is what I told myself. There was one thing that kept bothering me. Tia is what I would call overly friendly with other guys. Touchy, lots of inside jokes, standing too close, laughing at everything they say even when it is not funny. Finding reasons to touch their arm or shoulder. At parties, she would spend more time talking to other guys than checking in with me. I would be standing there like furniture while she worked the room. Whenever I brought it up, I got the same lines. "You are overthinking. Why are you so insecure? That is just how I am. If you cannot handle me being friendly, that is your problem." She made me feel like I was some jealous, uptight boyfriend for having basic boundaries. This was the first red flag I tried to explain away instead of listening to my own discomfort. I started to wonder if maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was old-fashioned. Maybe this was just what relationships look like now and I needed to adapt. Last weekend, we went on a beach trip to the Florida Keys with her friend group, about 8 people total. I told myself this trip would be a good test. Maybe I would see that I was overreacting. Maybe we would reconnect outside of our usual routine. For the first 2 days, everything was normal. Beach, drinks, group dinners. I started to relax. I even thought, maybe I really have been too sensitive. Then Jace showed up. He was the local tour organizer for water sports. One of Tia's friends had booked jet skis and parasailing through him. He was good-looking, tattooed, relaxed. The kind of guy who talks to tourists all day and knows he is attractive. From the moment he walked up, Tia flipped a switch. She got louder. She laughed at everything he said. She asked him questions about the Keys, about his life, about the best spots to watch the sunset. She touched his arm when she talked to him, played with her hair. I watched it like someone watching a scene they have already seen before. At one point, we were all on the sand. Tia turned to me. "Can you grab my sunscreen and a towel from the bag?" she asked. I did. I stood next to her holding both. Then, without even glancing at me, she turned to Jace with a big smile. "Could you get my back?" she said. "I can never reach." She did not look at me. She did not ask if I minded. She did not even acknowledge I was there. Jace shrugged and said sure. She sat on the sand in front of him. He started rubbing sunscreen on her back while I stood there holding the bottle and the towel. I could feel my face getting hot. Some of her friends went quiet. That kind of silence where everyone knows something is wrong but no one wants to say it. A couple people suddenly needed to check their phones. One said they had to go to the bathroom. Tia noticed the shift. She always notices the room. She turned, looked straight at me and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I just asked him to put sunscreen on my back. If you are jealous, go home." The beach went dead silent. A few nervous laughs. People looked away. I looked at her for a second. Then I said one word. "Okay." I did not yell. I did not explain. I did not ask her to step aside and talk. I just turned around and started walking back to the hotel. Sometimes the most powerful reaction is no scene at all, just a decision. I went to our room, took a shower, and then packed my things slowly. I checked flights on my phone, found a red-eye out that night and booked it. Around 11 at night, I checked out of the hotel and took a ride to the airport. I did not text anyone. I did not leave a note. She told me to go home, so I went home. The next morning, I woke up to about 40 missed calls and around 60 text messages. Most were from Tia. Some were from her friends. One message stood out from her friend's boyfriend. "Bro, she is freaking out. The hotel says someone has to cover the booking." I had already paid my share before I left. My half of the flight, my part of the room, the activities I signed up for. Tia had put the room under a package deal for the full week in her name. When I checked out early, the hotel still wanted the rest of the balance covered. That was between her and the hotel, not me. Her texts came in stages. First was anger. "You are being ridiculous. You embarrass me in front of everyone. This is so childish. You are making a scene over nothing." Every message tried to make me feel like I was the one who had crossed a line by doing exactly what she said. Then came deflection. "It was just a joke. You know I did not mean it literally. Everyone else understood I was kidding. Why are you so sensitive?" Then panic. "The hotel will not let us check out without full payment. My card got declined. They are saying there is an $800 balance. I need you to transfer money." This was the first time the texts were about something real, not my ego, not my insecurity. Money. Then bargaining. "Just send the money and we will talk when I get back. I know you are mad, but do not leave me stranded. We can work this out if you help me with this first. I promise we will sit down and have a real conversation." The talk about our relationship was now tied directly to me sending money. Finally came playing the victim. "I cannot believe you would abandon me like this. What kind of person leaves someone in another state? My friends think I did something wrong when you are the one who left. You are making me look bad to everyone I know." When someone cycles through anger, excuses, panic, bargaining, and victim mode that fast, they are not trying to understand you. They are trying to regain control. I did not respond. Not at first. Then I got a message from Susie. She is one of the quieter girls in Tia's group. We had barely spoken more than a few times. Her message was simple. "Hey, Ryan, I was not going to say anything because it is not really my business, but I feel like you should know. The night before the beach thing with Jace, Tia was talking about you. She said she wanted to test how secure you are and that she needed you to show some passion instead of being boring all the time. She literally planned to make you jealous. She even told Jace beforehand that she was going to flirt with him to get a reaction from you. I am sorry. I thought it was messed up then, and I still think it is messed up now." I read it over and over. It was not spontaneous. It was not just being friendly. She had set up that entire scene as a test, and when I did not react the way she wanted, when I did not explode or cling or beg, she humiliated me in front of everyone and told me to go home. That was when I finally replied to Tia. "You told me to go home, so I did." Then I muted her number. Over the next few days, more information filtered back to me. The friend group chat was splitting. Some were defending her, talking about loyalty. Others were not buying her story. One person in the chat said, "You literally told him to go home in front of everyone. He went home. What is the problem?" That is when more details came out. Jace was not just some random local tour guide. One of Tia's friends had invited him specifically because Tia had been following him on social media for months. She had been reacting to his stories, asking questions about the keys, sending flirty messages. Another friend sent me a screenshot from their planning chat before the trip. Tia had typed, "Perfect. Ryan needs to see I have options." I stared at that line for a long time. She was not testing my security. She was testing how much disrespect I would tolerate. She wanted me to see her options so I would know I was replaceable and work harder to keep her attention. That is not a test of love. That is a power game. A little over a week later, she called me from a different number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but I was tired of the limbo. Her voice was a mix of defensive and desperate. "You left me there to deal with everything by myself," she said. "Do you know how humiliating that was? My friends were asking where you went. The hotel staff was questioning me about the booking. I looked like an idiot." I let her talk. She said I had made her look unstable. She said she could not believe someone who supposedly loved her would do this. When she finally stopped to breathe, I asked her a simple question. "Are you humiliated because you lost your boyfriend?" I said, "or because you lost someone to pay for things and stand there while you perform?" Silence, then she pivoted. "That is not fair," she said. "Look, we can talk about this when I am calmer, when we have both cooled down. Right now, I need you to send money for the hotel charges. We can work through everything else after. There it was again. The relationship tied directly to money and image. I said, I am not the structural support for your ego or your expenses. We are done. She got angry fast. The desperation vanished. She said I was abandoning her in her time of need. She said I had proved I never cared. She said she dodged a bullet and that I was not mature enough for a real relationship. I did not argue. You told me to leave somewhere, you invited me, I said, so I left. You do not get to be mad that I took you at your word. Then I hung up. I sent one last text. I do not need to fight about this. I am just done being somewhere you let other people treat me like a joke. Then I blocked her. Sometimes the real closure is not a deep talk. It is just refusing to play the game anymore. Over the next couple of weeks, everything around her started to shake. She eventually had to pay the hotel. Susie told me she had to call her mother and her older brother to wire money because her cards were maxed. With late fees and penalties, the total was around $1,200. Her mother was not happy. Her brother made her sign something promising to pay him back monthly. Missing a payment hurt her credit score. Because of all that, she had to move back home for a while when her roommate moved out and she could not afford the apartment. When you build a life on appearances and constant validation, the foundation tends to crack fast when something goes wrong. The friend group split almost exactly down the middle. Two people cut her off completely. They said they had already been uncomfortable with how she treated people and how she created drama for content. This was the final straw. 3 stayed loyal. They comment under every vague story about knowing your worth and cutting off insecure energy. The other 3, including Susie, pulled back, still polite but distant. The group is not the same. As for Jace, he disappeared. The day after I left, Tia leaned into her flirting with him, probably to prove a point. He went along at first. Then the hotel money drama started. She hinted that he could help. He made an excuse about needing to get back to Miami. Then he stopped answering and unfollowed her. Props in someone else's relationship drama usually do not stick around long once there is real responsibility involved. One more thing happened that closed the loop for me. A mutual acquaintance, someone who was not on the trip, reached out and asked if it was true that I had abandoned Tia during a vulnerable moment and was emotionally abusive. I did not defend myself. I just said we were no longer together and left it there. Later, Susie sent me a screen recording. Someone on the trip had captured Tia's Instagram story from the beach. You could hear Tia clearly saying, "If you are jealous, go home." You could see me standing there, then quietly walking away. When Tia tried to spin the story as me being abusive, that clip started to circulate in their wider circle. People saw it and the story died on its own. I did not have to convince anyone. The truth was just there. Since then, I have been living quietly. I went back to work. I started spending time with my own friends again. The ones I had been putting off because Tia always had plans that needed me there. I went on a solo camping trip. Just me, a tent, and a lake in North Carolina. No signal, no photos, no audience, just silence, trees, and my own thoughts. It was the most peaceful I had felt in months. Being alone feels very different from being lonely. A lot of people only discover that when they finally step away from constant noise. I am not dating. I am not on apps. My mom says there are plenty of fish in the sea. Maybe there are. Right now, I am okay in my own lane. Tia has never actually apologized, not once. She has said, "I am sorry you felt that way. I am sorry it got blown out of proportion. I am sorry you could not handle a joke." She never said, "I am sorry I disrespected you." She never said, "I am sorry I planned to humiliate you." That tells me everything I need to know about whether I made the right decision. She wanted a reaction. She wanted jealousy, anger, some big display that proved she had power. Instead, I left. She wanted to win. I chose not to play. Lesson 1: when someone tells you who they are and how they see you in public, believe them. The moment she said, "Go home," in front of everyone, she showed exactly where he ranked in her life. Lesson 2: jealousy, tests, and manufactured drama are not signs of passion. They are signs of control and insecurity. Healthy relationships do not need stage plays to prove love. Lesson 3: If your partner
Lesson
laughs
4.
while you stand there
Walking
feeling
away
like
quietly is
furniture,
not petty.
you are not being too
Sometimes
sensitive.
it is the only
You are
way to
noticing a
protect your
lack of
dignity when
basic
someone
respect.
keeps moving the line. Lesson 5. Real accountability sounds like, I did this and it was wrong, not, I am sorry you felt that way. Pay attention to the difference. Lesson 6. Being alone for a while can be healthier than staying in a relationship where you are just a prop in someone else's show. What do you think about how Ryan handled the beach moment? Would you have stayed and argued or walked away the way he did? Have you ever been in a relationship where someone tried to test your jealousy or make you feel replaceable on purpose? Share what you learned from that in the comments.